Hello, people. I am Sunny Chayes, and I am so excited to be here. And we are going to be delving into what is next for all of us and how to be creative with what we have and how to replicate what we do or imagining things that other people are doing that we can do. And we are very, very excited to be doing that. And I am bringing on a guest, a dear friend of mine I've known for many years. He's had quite a life, I must tell you his name. Well, I'll tell you his name in a minute because that's just what I'm going to do. He has 30 years experience in film, TV production, as well as marketing, advertising, PR production. He's promoted such famous people like Madonna, Paula Abdul, and many other luminaries. And he's done events that have been seen by over 500 million people worldwide, if we can imagine such a number. And he's hosted people of 10,000 to 40,000 in one sitting, or probably a weekend. And he had a radio show called Movie Talk that, of course, he hosted. And he was, and I think still is, an honored lecturer at Pepperdine U, Loyola Marymount, which I love that school. We must talk about them, and Middlesex University. And now he's using his wisdom, experience, and life's journey to take him on a new now journey. And I'm really, really excited to bring him to you today because I think we're going to have a very, very inspiring conversation. I'm really excited to bring on my dear friend, Randall Blaum. So let us bring him on, Tony.
Hi, Sunny. Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. I mean, and I really mean that. I'm so excited to have you.
It is a delight.
Well, thank you. And I just said a few things, you know. I mean, as I told you, my son said, "Mom, just get to it and do it." So
Right.
we can definitely drop all kinds of things in as we go. But I just wanted to, you know, as I say, get to it and do it. So I'm really interested in you chatting with me about sort of where I feel at this point in my life. You know, I feel like I'm whatever age, however many decades I've lived, and there are many of them. And I feel like all that I have done has brought me, like it's all been a dress rehearsal, and it's brought me to this, like it's showtime now. And I think it's really cool that I feel that way because a lot of people may be sort of, you know, throwing in the towel at this point. It's sort of saying, oh, I've done a bunch of stuff in my life and it's time to retire and enjoy whatever. But honestly and truly, I feel like I haven't really done my thing yet. I've done a bunch of cool stuff, for sure, but I really honestly don't think that my purpose has been fulfilled. So I guess I have to hang around for a couple more decades. And I feel like that's true with you too. So I just want you to kind of jump in.
No, it's absolutely true. It's absolutely true to say that I am just getting started. And I don't regret any of my up till nows, is what I call them, our history, our past, because to me, it's very much like a library. And my library is filled with books of all the years that I've lived and all the traumas I've had, all the joys that I've experienced. And I can now touch those without having a massive emotional experience to them. So it is just like a library. And if I need to touch that emotion, I know exactly what book can make me cry. I know what book can make me laugh. But I don't have to do that. So all of my up till nows have brought me into an area of my life that's all about not just serving other people, but as I like to say, true happiness is helping others find theirs.
I love that.
So all of my up till nows, it took me 60 years to be able to come up with that one sentence and know that it resonated both in my head and my heart. And that's what I'm doing.
Well, don't you feel also like, you know, again, many years ago, sort of a certain age was a retirement, and a lot of people had one, two, maybe if they felt like it, 3 jobs or 3 careers, and then they, you know, they felt like they sort of earned their time off or that sort of thing. And the idea that we can take the wisdom, the humility, the chops, as we say in the music business, and get them up, more up, and really activate and assimilate and appreciate, again, in a really humble way, our sort of the conflagration of everything that we've learned and gone through and feel and bring it now and bring it into this new now.
No, you're absolutely right. And I like that. It's the new now. And I really hate the term the new normal through everything that's going on in the universe right now.
But I just came up with this before you walked in the door.
But the new now
For you.
really is what it is.
Uh-huh.
Because every day you're presented with whatever obstacles or challenges that life brings you, and what are you going to do with it right now?
Yeah.
Because the past, again, is like a library to me. The future you can't predict, but you can help direct.
Absolutely.
You do have a choice. Do I want to go left or do I want to go right today? Well, tomorrow that path will take me a different choice than I would have made another time. So I think the new now really is it. And I think the issue that a lot of people have is they're frightened of now.
Oh.
They're hanging on to way too much of the past.
Yeah.
It's very emotionally anchored versus informationally anchored.
Yeah.
And because of that, they're stuck and they can't quite get unstuck. And that's part of what I discovered. Like I said, I've been alive for 60 years, but I've discovered in the last 6 months part of where I was stuck. So it
Yeah.
took me that long to find something I was stuck on. And it was a friend of mine just yelling at me one day, basically saying, snap out of it. It was a very moonstruck moment, but it was true. So
I love that.
the new now, I think, is exactly what we all have to work for, and understand that the new now doesn't mean good or bad. You help describe that in your own terms.
And we have the opportunity for really, really creating, imagining. You know, the music that we play before the show is Imagine and Pure Imagination from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And it's like, can we view paradise? Simply look around and view it. You know, it's like we can do that. We can do it. We can do it. Like they say in Adam Sandler movies. But I mean, we really can. And I think that that's something that is something that can happen every new now, where you're sort of thinking, okay, I have a new direction I can go, or I got fired from a job, or something I thought was happening isn't happening. And it's like, ooh, take a breath and think, what do I actually want to do? I mean, what do I really want to do? And I think that's part of the challenge that we as human beings have, is we've gotten to a place in this sort of spiritual, sacred world where we know that we can manifest things. And now it's about, but what the bleep do I want?
It's what it really comes down to. And I think, again, using your term, the new now, is that people don't know where to go. It's sort of like they try to eat the elephant in the room versus taking it bite by bite. And you and I've talked about this, because people ask me all the time, and I'm sure they ask you similar questions. What do I do to get started? I want to paint. I want to play the guitar. I want to build a house, whatever that.
I want to do a radio show.
Right. What do I do? And of course, the easy answer is you just start doing it.
Yeah.
But the thing that I found, and this was part of that last 6 months, you've got to find one person to say yes.
I love that.
If you have a dream, find one person who says yes to the dream, and it starts to take off, because then they know people who say yes, and they know people who say yes. And all of a sudden, everyone's saying yes. And then all of a sudden, you find yourself riding on the bow of a massive ocean liner and not quite sure how to control it all, but you're controlling it anyway because everyone's now following you in your dream. It's stunning what happens with just one person say yes.
Well, what I love about that, too, is it is sort of making a declaration and speaking it out loud. And sometimes it's fun to write. You know, I journal, and I know we all, you know, many of us do that. But actually speaking it out loud, because also there is something that goes on where we can imagine it, you know, perhaps however, but then when we actually speak it out loud, it comes together in a different way. And it lands in our brain in a different way. And we kind of flesh it out a little bit, because maybe even the friend that you're speaking to, or the colleague or whoever, says, oh, well, like, wait, tell me more about that dream. Like, oh, you want to write a book. Well, what is it about? Or you want to do a radio show. What are you going to talk about? Like, what's your gig? What's your thing? What's your special, you know, that you're going to bring to that building a house? You know, what is it going to be? Creating a new dish of food.
Yeah, it's amazing, and most people can't answer that question. I love your terms, I really do. It's so fun to be back in the studio with Sunny, let me tell you. So the question is, you know, what's your it? Why you? Who cares? How special are you? And why should anyone pay attention? Now, most people, when they get asked those questions, I mean, they close in, they cower, they go, I don't know, and stop asking me these questions. And it's okay that you don't know.
Yeah.
All you have to know is that you know it's not what you're doing right now, and there's some change has to happen. That's when you find the person who will listen to you and say, that sounds like an idea, that doesn't, and get that one person to jive with you on what you're doing. But yeah, people are frightened to stick up for who they are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
Because
that's
society
true.
basically says, go to school and now learn this and learn this and learn this, and
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
allow you to be you. I don't know about you, but I banged a lot of erasers growing up. I was sent out of the room more times than I can count because I
Oh.
learned differently than
Mm-hmm.
everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a very special teacher in the 5th grade to learn that I had what we now call ADHD. I didn't
Mm.
know how to read in the 5th grade. I'm that good at
Wow.
acting. He found
Wow,
me out.
mister.
And because he and my mom spent whatever the 3 or 4 months in between 5th and 6th grade for the summertime, he developed a plan on how I learn. And I went from not reading in the 5th grade to reading at high school senior level by the 6th grade.
And it's so amazing that that stuff can happen, and
Mm-hmm.
how bravo to that teacher and to your mom to have that insight and all of that. And when you were talking about what one can do that is special
Mm-hmm.
and stuff, I think sometimes when I counsel people and stuff, and they're doing, let's say, a music festival. One time, Ricky Byers-Beck was wanting to do a new gig, a new thing that she called Raj, Rhythm and Joy Festival. And I was at the, sort of small meetings, and I said to her, there's this Jewish question that is spoken on Passover, and is, why is this night different than any other night? And there are answers to that. It's 4 questions and everything. And then,
Mm-hmm.
but I said to Ricky, like, what is different about Raj? What is different about your musical festival than any other musical festival? In other words, it doesn't have to be that special. In some ways, that might be a very intimidating question, but it's also an awesome question. It's a bitchin' question, because we can dive in and say, yeah, there have been music festivals before. There have been many. What's special about you? What little tidbit even is going to be
Mm-hmm.
different about this show or this music festival than has ever been before? And one of the elements, okay, Ricky, is you, because you are different than everyone else. But that question, when we're going to do something, sometimes I think people feel like, oh, so many people have done it before. Like, why do I need to do it? Or what's special about me? And to even quietly in journaling or meditation, or maybe with that one friend, what is different about mine than any other night?
Yeah, and it's it's a great question, and it must start with you, the individual,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because you are the
For sure.
idea maker, the dream catcher of that moment,
Mm-hmm.
and that passion is what everyone else will follow.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it's, a stagecoach out in the middle of the desert or something, the first stagecoach was not that big, and someone goes, you know what, I'm just going to have a country and western fest in the middle of the desert, and someone's going to show up. So I want to know what that person was thinking just before they had that idea.
Oh, cool.
Who were they? What were they doing? And go, you know what? Maybe I can do that. And see, you only need the maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do that.
Yeah.
And without the I can, nothing's going to happen, because no one's going to believe you. If you don't think you can do it, why would I give you my time or my money to go down that path with you?
Absolutely. I love using words like maybe or perhaps,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a soft way, perhaps you can invest in my company. I mean, whatever it might be, it can be something very big, it can be something very small, but maybe or perhaps is such a nice way of like tipping the toe into the river.
Right. No, it gives you a polite out.
Yes, and a polite in.
Right, because when people ask me what's going on with Victory Arts, which is the charity that I started during the pandemic, I always ask them for money in some form or fashion. And sometimes it's straight across the bow, and sometimes it's a maybe and perhaps, and here's what we're doing, and I know what they like, and I know what I'm going to ask them. I know we're going to go out and have a drink or a steak or whatever it may be, but there's always going to be, I have a way for you to take what you love and make an exponent out of it, so everyone, thousands of people, can share your same love. Are you interested in even hearing that idea?
I love that. And now I really want to ask you something. And the idea of the win-win-win, again, I just want to remind some people who are older and then those who are younger who may not even know this. But in the 80s, it was actually cool to be greedy. Greed is good was a mantra.
Right.
It was actually not just okay, but it was
Expected.
considered, expected, and it was also honored, and it was, way beyond approved of. It was really, really honored.
Yeah, correct.
And I really feel that things have gone a pendulum swing, thank God. And so now we're in a place of like, win, win, win. And so when you're asking people these questions, or when you were in your at Subaru, and it was COVID time, and things were changing. Things were not as they used to be.
Not at
And
all.
you were like, okay, I'm having an idea. I'm having imagination is coming through. And maybe I'm going to play, and perhaps I'm going to play with some other people, and I'm going to bring some other people to play with me in my idea. And then maybe perhaps they will be having so much fun, and they will be feeling very uplifted, and they will feel like they're giving back. And then maybe perhaps it goes on and on and on, like, the ripple effect. But I want to even use another expression than ripple effect, because I think what we're doing is way bigger than ripple effects. But so I'd love for you to, kind of chat about that.
Well, and thank you for that. So it was the, golly, it must have been March of 2020.
When it was just starting.
Right. And I was sitting at home, and my husband, Bob, and I, we live in a complex that there were 11 homes in the complex. Everybody was out of work but me and Bob. Everybody.
Wow.
Because they were servers or cooks or whatever they were. So every day I came home. I kept working every day.
Ah, interesting.
We had one day off, and I'll tell you about that. But how do you live with people and see them every day, knowing the pain they're going through? So when I was sitting at home, and Bob works in the live theater business, and basically he would say, I shorthand this, but he's like, "You're smart. Why don't you figure out a way to do a musical?" It was that sort of just offhand comment, right? So the next morning I woke up, I said, "Okay, why not?"
I like it.
Literally
Why
was.
not? And why not you?
Because I've done a lot. I've done a lot in theater, a lot of productions, a lot of marketing, a lot of promotions. I've never tried to produce a musical during a pandemic when no one can see each other and starting from absolute zero with no money.
Wow.
And I called one friend, happened to be Matt Morrow from Diversionary Theater, which is the third oldest LGBTQ theater in the country.
Oh.
It's in San Diego.
Cool.
And said, "Matt, I need you to do something for me." Because I was just whatever, right? And he listened to everything I said. I said, "I can't help you because we're doing this, this, and this, but call this person."
Awesome.
And it was Stephen Brodebeck, who turned out to be our director, and Stephen said yes.
Oh, wow.
And Stephen said yes because I knew Matt, and Matt told Stephen, "Listen to this guy. It's stupid, it's crazy, but listen to him." So what happened was Subaru of El Cajon, which is, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just an automobile retailer. It sells Subarus, right? We hired 30 cast and crew, and we put together a 15-minute true Hollywood musical, all original book, all original music, all original lyrics. None of our dance team saw each other in person. It was all over Zoom until 2 hours before we started shooting, and that's when we did our final dance rehearsal to put it all together.
And I want you to pause because I want our engineer, our beautiful engineer, to be bringing some of our pictures up. So carry on chatting, but I want people to see some of these awesome pictures. So go ahead.
So, that's the cast. That's the dance cast, and the guy in the gray sweatshirt in the middle is Stephen Brodebeck. So,
nice.
We
you could just cycle through them if you like.
Everything. We did everything remotely. In fact, when we were using Studio West, which is probably the largest audio studio south of LA, aren't they great? Those are very happy people. Studio West, everybody had to sing their parts individually. At no point in time did any of our actors or singers sing in the same room. So someone would come in and record, then someone else would come in and record listening to the track they did before. Our book writer and our lyrics and songwriters were in New York. So they were on Zoom on New York watching all of this. So it was kind of amazing. It's one of those.
Amazing.
And I have to say, about 3 weeks in, I got the cold sweats one night. It's like, I am way out. I mean, everyone's looking to me. You're the producer and you've got to figure this out. Way out of my league. It's like, I mean, who in the hell did I think I was that I could do something like this? And that was the moment that everything changed. And it was because it was like, wait a minute, you're doing what you've always done. You're just coalescing it together in a bigger and in different way. And everyone's following you, which that's the other question. Why are these people following me? I mean, seriously, why would they do this? And I've asked them that question.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to interject because as you're chatting and we're looking at these pictures, I always scribble 100 things down when we're talking. And when you were saying that, I was thinking of that idea that we ask sometimes, why me? Sometimes it can be in a lot of pain, like, why God, why me? In a sort of painful way. And then it's also, why me? How did I get, it's like even when I started this show, the first time I was training for the first few months, I thought, why, I used to sing and this or that, and I'm very chatty, but I thought, why would it be me? Why me? Why my voice? What's that about? And then the person who was training me was like, why not you? And it was so important about really what I had to say, and they saw something in me. They said, Sonny, I was just playing music at the time, just kind of doing an arc of music. Like if it was Valentine's Day, I would do different,
Right.
love things. And he's like, okay, enough about that. Just, everybody can play music. I want to hear what you have to say. And even though I'm so chatty as a personality, I thought with a mic in front of me and you guys out there, it's like, uh-oh, how is that going to be? Right. And then it was like, well, why not me? And what do I have to offer? And again, what's different about me than, what's different about this night than any other night, or girl than any other girl, or show than any other show? And the truth is, this show is different. It's not necessarily better or worse, but it is a different experience because of me. And so for you in that moment when it was like, why me? I think it's actually an awesome place to be. I think it's a very humbling, important place. I think we can, when we're doing big things, to often ask ourselves, why me? Because it is also a responsibility. When we put ourselves in a certain place, we do have a responsibility, I feel, to really deliver. So
no, you have to. And I think there's probably a million, but two basic answers to why me. And I think it's the point where some people crumble because it is an awesome responsibility. At this point in time, I mean, I had 30 people that were counting on me to do something. I had all of Subaru counting on me to do something. I had Cox Cable, which the thing aired in front of 1 million people, counting on me to do something. So either you do it or you don't. It's one of those, I got it. You don't know all of it. You'll figure pieces of it out. And here's the second part of you've got to find the one person to say yes. You have to find the one person that you trust with everything of who you are, that you can go to in the deepest, darkest night and go, I don't know what I'm doing, and I need you just to take a look at something and tell me if I'm doing it right.
Interesting.
Because that way, no one's always right? And you're making all the best choices you can make, but someone looking from the outside will sit there and go, okay, well, that's interesting, but how about?
Yes.
And it starts you thinking again. So if you ever get stuck, so you need someone to say yes, and you need someone you trust literally with your life that you can go, I don't know what I'm doing, and I need someone to tell me an idea.
Well, I love that because, again, I think it's really important to keep our humility. And again, I think that that's something that is a really awesome thing to have these days. Again, we were talking about that earlier, but to be at a certain place in our lives where we can do things with, just a humbleness that's so delicious. It's so great. And again, to be often asking that question again, why me? And then knowing why not me. And I think it's sort of a toggling that I think is important to do because I think that's super cool to be on that, that like energy ball where you're kind of doing that. And then you have those moments where when you're like, why me? And you reach out to that person and then why not me? And then you've got the, chutzpah, you've got the energy, you've got the clarity, you've got the like, bring it universe energy to say, yeah, I don't really know what's happening, but I'm creating something completely new. And so I can do whatever I want. And that's what you did.
Yes. And it's one of those, it's a Spider-Man thing with great responsibility kind of thing. It really is that. But if you're doing something that has not been done, it may be good, it may be bad, it may not be any different than what anybody else could do. 1 million small short films get made a year, and 1 million of them get put in contests, and some win, some don't. We've won, thank you. That's pretty phenomenal.
I was gonna say something about that, but I would like to also bring up some awards and some applause. Thank you.
Oh. See, look at that.
Woohoo! And the reason that we have applause right now is because these are just two of the many awards you've gotten. It cracks me up when I go on Facebook. It's like, another award, another award. And they're all beautiful, and they're all amazing, and they're from all over the place. And yay, and congratulations, and thank you for bringing out applause because you deserve it.
That. So it's absolutely a team effort. So the Sharing the Love, which is the name of the musical, and people can find it on YouTube.
And please do.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's received a lot of love and accolades from around the country. It won Best Ensemble Musical Cast, which I think is great because that really shows the entire cast all showed up, and no one made a ton of money. I mean, there were like our dance team. They got paid $50 or $100 for like 40 hours of rehearsal and a 12-hour day. I mean, they did it because they wanted to work, and that's really the other piece of the why me if not me. Get the person to say yes. Is find out what the team needs to feed their passion.
Yes.
How can you show them off to their best ability so they live? And all of a sudden, all those people said yes. I just want to dance. I just want to act. Okay,
I just want to sing.
We're doing this thing, and it's really weird. Okay.
Well, I will tell you that I think one of the reasons that you got so many awards is because it's so, I mean, it's original, it's fun, it's fresh, it's at some places campy. It's just one of those things where you're just like, oh gosh, like, oh, aw, and there's so much of that. And then there are people who have some major singing chops in there and stuff. I mean, it's not just all, down home, and really cool choreography in a parking lot. And I mean, it's just really, really fun. It's just super fun, and it's very uplifting.
That's what we tried to keep it. And what's interesting is there were a lot of reviews. Film Threat gave it actually a decent review. And it's one of those, it's like, yeah, a couple of songs are a little pitchy in a few places, and had they had a few more camera angles,
come on.
it would have been a better. It's like, you know what? I'll take that 100% of the time, because when people, you also have the guts to stand up for yourself, right? Because there are people, it's like, oh, well, it's stupid and it's just a commercial for Subaru, and it could be thought of that way. Granted, it's a musical about people who love an old Subaru because it was their dad's and all this. But at the end of the day, my response to them is, you find your own money, you find your own cast, and you do your own musical.
Yeah, and you try to do all that.
And then come talk to me about your opinion.
Well, and I got a big kick out of it because the three sort of cast members who were the, sort of Dorothy and the Scarecrow. And
they were on
like,
the trip.
you may not have thought of it that way, but no, you did think of that.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Well, it came through to me, and I'm thinking it's so great because Wizard of Oz in so many ways has so much magic. And, as we know, I mean, there's so many, so many people have written amazing, cool books about even just sort of what was going on with Wizard of Oz. But when I saw that, I thought the idea that we are going through, a journey, and then we sort of find our way home. And, home's been a big theme for me this last while, actually, the idea of home. When I think of, at your movie, Sharing the Love, and I think of what, kind of what was going on, and there are moments when people get a little bit sad or they don't really know what they're doing or why they're doing it or what's happening. And I think of the Scarecrow at the end of Wizard of Oz, where, of course, Glinda's there and she's about to give the punchline for the whole movie, and the Scarecrow is really mad, is really kind of incensed. And he's like, seriously, Glinda? Like, could you not have told us this a little while ago? And, so he's really he's pretty mad.
Yep.
And he kind of, throws a little shade at Glinda. And then she says, she wouldn't have believed me. And it's like, sometimes we have to go through a lot to get to that place.
Man, I tell you, I don't know why, but it seems like most folks in the human race have to learn through pain.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to us not doing that.
Yeah, and
that's my next iteration for life.
I'm trying to never do that. Like, if someone tells me that here's the answer that 1 + 1 is 2, it's like, okay, I will take that answer and move along. Because you don't have to learn through pain.
No.
And that was one thing that we really tried to do with Sharing the Love. And again, that was a major turning point. It was almost like going to Mount Everest was another major turning point. But Sharing the Love was you don't know everything, but you know enough. And choose something that is good for the people, good for you, and good for the people who will watch the show. Yes. Whether they like it or not, some people will hate it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But if you just keep that in mind, what can I do to make it better for everybody? It turns out as well as it's going to.
I love that, and I think it's absolutely true. And I think that at some point in this interview, I want to talk about the idea of the, sort of the pain, and so I wrote that down as a note so I don't forget. And as we're talking about journeys and finding home and stuff, I would actually like to segue slightly to your Himalayas experience. And of course, that also for a lot of people is sort of a symbol. Many people will not be doing this climb. Most people in the world, a very small percentage, will ever do it. another small percentage will even see the photos. But many people know of
Right.
this as a journey to do. And I actually have a dear friend named Susmita who's actually been on this show, who is from Nepal. She's Tibetan, and she, little munchkin, has done all of the peaks, all of them, and just before the last one, so she's a record holder of that. And everything she explained to me about it was so incredible that it's way beyond anything I think I could ever do. So I just want to first of all honor you that you did that, and then have you tell us a little bit about it. And I know we have some other pictures, so as we chat, we'll.
It was it was
be
an amazing
seeing them.
trip. I was directing a film, and I had trained to go to base camp, which is at about 17,500 feet. My cameraman and the star of the show, we were actually doing a documentary on him making to the top, and he was the world's oldest North American to make it to the top. Obviously, we didn't know that at the time. Oh, this is Lama Geshe. This is when Lama Geshe is giving me my real name. That was another life-changing
By the way,
moment.
can you hold that shot for a moment? Because, I don't know. Can you do a split screen? You can't. Okay. So anyway, we will right after we. Okay. So carry on. I want to show you something.
So it's kind of amazing. So I was designed, if you will, to go to base camp. And the mountain, like any major task, shows you who you are, and it ignores what you think you're doing there. And there were there were multiple times when I didn't know if I was going to make it to base camp or not. And when I got to base camp, I was with a climbing team. So these people were going to the top of Mount Everest. My top of Mount Everest was base camp. These people
So
were
base camp was how many feet up? 'Cause if
17,500.
people don't
17,500.
understand, because of the altitude and stuff, you really have to acclimate because of the. I mean, it's no joke.
Yeah, no,
So-
I slept in an altitude tent in my house in San Diego for 3 months before I went. It helped me acclimatize. And then it took 2 weeks. So Kathmandu, you take a helicopter and you go up to a little village, and then it takes you 2 weeks. You climb up 2,000, go down 1,000, sleep up 2,000, because you have to acclimatize. And literally, the guides that you're with every day, how's your poop, how's your pee, how do you feel? Because you could literally keel over and die from altitude sickness in a moment's notice. So it's a very big deal. Okay, I wasn't in bad shape, but I was in the worst shape of anybody that I was with. And every single day for 2 weeks, I was the last person to walk into camp. And at one point in time, they all came around me and said, you know what? We like having you here. I go, why? Because I'm like always last, and you're having dinner, and I'm just getting in, right? And they're like, because
you were their mascot.
that's exactly right. You never gave up, and you kept going, and you did everything that you could do. And because of that, we know that we can make it to the top.
Oh my gosh.
So here's the person who is. Oh, that was one of our lunch stops where you bring your own rocks, you bring your own table, and bring your own food. But even if you come in last, you can be such a motivating factor to other people. And that's why I think today, I don't know that it's good or bad, where everyone wins a ribbon and no one's made to feel bad. It's like, no, sometimes you just come in last. Sometimes my good friend Brian was always better at the tuba than I was. Only time I beat him was when he was down with the flu. But you're not going to be the best at everything. But that's okay. Who are you motivating? Because you showed up. And that's, I think, is the key factor. And that's really what I learned at Mount Everest. And then once they were actually up at Camp 1, there was nothing left for me to do. So I was designed to hike back down. And it was 2 weeks going up, 3 days coming back, 42 miles.
Isn't that something?
It was quite something. And then one day, on the second day on the way down, I was with two Sherpani, which are the lady Sherpas. And they were better and faster than me, and we left together, but they took a left branch, I took a right. There they are. They went left, I went right. I didn't know I should have gone left. For 12 hours, I didn't see another human being, didn't hear another human being.
Oh, no.
I'm in the middle of Mount Everest, walking on a trail like this with forests and rocks and rivers, and literally no idea where I'm at, and can't communicate with anybody. And it was the most amazing thing, and it was one of those, no matter what you call it, I happen to call it more the universe than God, but that day was when it's just you and God. There's no secrets. Either you're happy with who you are or you're not. Either you're frightened or you're not. And I wasn't, because my mother, bless her soul, she was like, anytime we would get lost, we were never lost. We were temporarily misplaced. So here I am on Mount Everest. I giggled because it was like, no, I know where I'm at. I'm going to keep walking down. I will run into something sooner or later, and I have water and I've got some food and I'm okay for a few days but the closest hospital, which is basically a room the size of this studio with one bed that's made of rusty bolts, is a 4-day walk. Like if you get injured, somehow you have to get there. And there's only half a prayer that someone's going to be there. So it was an amazing day. An absolutely amazing day. I absolutely found absolute internal peace. And then I found a few years later, I lost myself. And it took going back to that day to start getting back in touch with myself.
Oh, my goodness.
So the journey's never over. And sometimes the journey takes really backward steps, and sometimes it's very painful, and sometimes you bring it on yourself.
Well, you were just talking about, you said something that I've never heard before, which, I mean, you say a lot of things I've never heard before. But one of them, though, is that when you did the climb that you did, because I always thought of it, you sort of go up 1,500 feet or something and land for a bit one day or something, and then you go up another 1,000 or 2,000 and stay for a bit. I never heard of the, sort of the toggling back and forth cons. I didn't know that was a thing.
There's multiple ways. And on some days, we would be like in the village of Ferice, and we would go up 1,500, 1,800 feet, and then we'd go back to Ferice and spend the night. But every day you have to ascend and then either stay or come back down, so everything gets used to the altitude. And it didn't happen to anyone in our group, but there was a guy that died in somebody else's group. Literally, he was fine at breakfast, and then he wasn't fine after breakfast. He just tipped over, and that's all she wrote.
Wow. Oh, my goodness. Well, we were showing a picture, and I just wanted to show you guys my shawl that you brought me.
Oh, my goodness.
I've had it all these years, Randall.
That is it's called a kata. And it came, if we can bring up that other picture again, it came from that day. Oh, my God, I'm getting goosebumps. It came from that day. That's the day it was given to me. I was given 2, and you got the other one.
And I remember when you gave it to me, and I was so honored and amazed that you would give such a thing to me, because I understand the sacredness and everything of this. So here it is for us this very day. It makes us both cry.
It really does. I have to say that's impressive.
I mean, I'm so happy to have it. I shall wear it for the rest of the show.
Wow.
Oh, my gosh. But I love this, and this has been with me to many sacred events I've done. I've done things at Agape International Spiritual Center. I've taken it with me. I've taken it to things in all over the place, in Mexico, in San Francisco, another country called San Francisco, California. And so thank you so much for this. And I've had it wrapped around things that
Thank you for bringing it in. That means a lot.
My pleasure. I wanted to bring a surprise for you. So
No, I appreciate that. And Lama Geshe.
So cheers!
Indeed.
Cheers!
We shall cheer
to you finding yourself again.
Yeah.
You're finding yourself again. I want to drink to that.
It was a few years back. It was not the brightest of times, but again, sometimes maybe you have to wander through that dark valley and kind of what am I and who am I and is this all that I am and can I ever be anything else? And so I get it. I mean, people sometimes the answer is no. And then I don't know what you do with that.
Yeah. Well, I think that the answer no is, I've had different masters I've worked with who talk, especially women, I notice this. No shade on women, but saying, oh gosh, we must learn to say no. We must learn to say no. We're overworked and we do so much and we say yes to people so often and all that. And I would say to the masters, we need to also learn to say yes. At least I need to learn to say yes, because that was kind of my thing, where I was like sort of maybe sort of a little bit or no, or maybe next week or year or tomorrow. But I wasn't about yes. And I know some other really, cool celebrity famous people that you guys would know, but I would just say that they were people who really in their life didn't say yes. And then somebody came along, their mom or their sister or their sister-in-law, and said, girl, you know what? You are always saying no to stuff. Like people offer you things and you're like, no, no, no all the time. And just say yes. And Actually, Shonda Rhimes, that phenomenal, voice of Shonda Rhimes, who did Scandal and all these different things. She had, I think it was her sister or mom who did that. It's like, you're successful in your career, but you're like, no, 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 all the time. And she wrote a book called The Year of Yes, and she sort of made herself say yes. And there was also that Jim Carrey movie called The Yes Man. And I love that movie because it's so crazy, but he has to say yes to everything. And, he ends up on some pretty incredible journeys. But I think that that's something that we can do a little more. I mean, of course, with discernment and all that, guys. I mean, obviously.
There must be discernment.
Yes. Well, let us use discernment. We don't have to be judgmental with people, but we can use discernment.
Correct.
And many times in our life.
And if it can't be yes, how about maybe?
Yeah.
Let me see
Perhaps.
Let me see how it fits in with what I'm doing, because I know if it's not every day, it's at least 2 or 3 times a week. People ask me for something, and I don't have the time, I don't have the bandwidth, I don't have the money, whatever that I don't have at the moment. And I find telling them the truth. I would love to say yes, I can't say yes at this time because of these reasons.
Yeah.
However, reach back out to me in 6 months or 9 months, and let's revisit that.
Yeah.
And if it's just a hard no because it's, not who you are as a human being, or it's off-brand for your business or something like that, then tell them that. It sounds great. It's not for me because.
Well, absolutely. And I think that I'm also talking about kind of yes from the universe stuff. Like when something comes in and it's like something is presented, and it can be that there was a no and then something else filters in. I mean, it's actually something that happened to me recently where something was a bit of a no, and I thought, okay, so now what do I want to fill my time with, because I like to be booked a lot. And then I had this opportunity to work on an environmental campaign. And it was so perfect for me because I was able to work with young people, like many decades younger than me, and really, really bringing the message to the people. And I would just say to the people I was talking to, it's like, okay, guess what? I'm a journalist. I have 2 radio shows, and I'm a mom, and I've been an environmentalist for a bunch of years, and we kind of didn't get it done. And so you young people I'm talking to, and I'm here with young people, like, come on, guys, we need you. Like, we need you to get loud and proud about this, because we just do. The time has come. The time hopefully is not past. And so it was so just incredible to immerse myself with all this young energy around me, and to realize that, again, the wisdom that I have, and then to impart stuff to them. And every day I'm sort of like, okay, there are 3 things that you can do every day that don't cost money and probably save you money.
Right.
But it was one of those things that I thought, do I feel like doing that? And then I just kind of leaned into it, and I thought, I'll try it for a week and see what happens. And then, and that's the other thing. When we say yes, it doesn't mean for the rest of our life. It means yes for our new now.
That's you're exactly right. And that is literally how Victory Arts, which is the charity I started during the pandemic, came up. It was, and it would not.
Do elaborate, please.
I will. Thank you. It would not have come up if I didn't do the musical.
Okay, see, there we go. That's exactly the thing.
It's one of those pebbles in the pond, and I was one of the. I didn't know that I could be the pebble, the ring, and the person that it touched. That was a big aha.
And
for
the
me.
water.
Right. But so Victory Arts, people can go to victoryarts.us, and the short version
we have
is
visuals of those. There we go.
what we are. Well, there it is. So the logo is designed not to be finished.
I like that.
It's purposely designed that way, where it's rough-edged. The letters are mostly there, but still being filled in, because victory takes a lifetime of commitment, and we are literally committed to the arts. We're designed to help conserve live theater, live music, and now digital presentations for people in underserved communities, and then to present that to underserved communities.
Ooh.
Because when someone says, who are you? We all have that question, right? I'm a band nerd, a drama geek, and a choir wannabe. At the end of the day, that's who I am. And I know that band, choir, as badly as I sing, and drama changed who I was. It showed me how to work and play with others. It showed me how to come in second. It showed me how to be cast as the lowest understudy on the left wing swing, blah, when all my friends are out there, right? But it's the first thing, art's the first thing to go. And they're gone from most of our schools.
That's true.
And if we can't have kids and young people understand what that means, we're going to lose generations of people. And when I was doing the musical and having those, why is this me? What in the world have I done? It's like a lightning bolt, which is interesting because going back to Mount Everest, a whole circle moment here, the name that Lama Geshe gave me was Dorji, Dorjie. We translate it to the thunderbolt of enlightenment and the person who brings the truth to things. So it took me years to understand the fullness of that, and that's what Victory Arts is. We are starting in January. We're doing a massive event in December called Totally Nutscrackers, which we're doing a 50-minute version of the Nutcracker with the San Diego Ballet, the city of Chula Vista, ballet dancers, and all that.
And we have a visual of that. Thank you so much.
But after that, coming in January, people will actually be able to ask for, and many people will get grants from us so they can write their song, write their poem, write their music, develop their play, do a podcast. So we're talking, I want to do a radio show. Great. Here's $5,000. Go do a radio show. Now that we've gotten rid of all the problems, oh, you need a radio station? Great. Call these people. Because of my background and our board of directors background, we're not just giving the person money. Because the first question they have to answer is, when you do what it is you do, who's it going to help? And the answer can't be you. We know it's going to help you. How is it going to help somebody else?
I love that.
And so January, people will be able to send in information. It's all on the website, victoryarts.us. And we can't wait to see what's going to happen next. And we've got a deal working with a major cable company that at least once a month we're going to put on a Victory Arts television program which will feature the people that we gave scholarships to. So they get to go make their thing. They get to then play the song, read the poem, do the act, whatever it is, on television. We're going
show the art, all that.
We're going to hand them then, here's the 30-minute segment. You can chop it up. You can use it any way you want. Market and promote yourself. So we're doing it a bit differently than what everybody else does. And again, I was asked, when it hit me, it was just like, you just need to do this. And it was like, okay, why? And it was like, well, because it's what you do.
I love it.
It just is. And the name Victory Arts, everyone's like, well, how'd you come up with that? And it's this, that. It's like, no, I sat. It was like 5 minutes. Okay, well, I want it to be about the arts, so let's use that word. And it's like, you know what? Everyone's got to win. It's got to be a win-win-win. So what does that look like? And that literally, Victory Arts came in less than 5 minutes. Of course, it was a lifetime of experience to build up to that 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
So it's pretty fun, I have to say.
Well, I love that. And do we have a visual of the Nutcracker or no? We don't.
Oh, we don't.
So
they can see it on the website.
Yeah. So look on the website.
Nutcracker
Absolutely.
holding a surfboard and like a little
yeah,
boogie
it
board
looks
and sunglasses.
incredible. It's actually there somewhere. But anyway, we'll find it for next time. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, the first thing I want to say with that, and this sort of leads me into something else, and I'm going to ask our engineer, do we have like 4 minutes left? Thank you. We like to get a little update here.
It's kind of amazing how fast we've done this hour, isn't it?
It's amazing, indeed, indeed. You know, one of the things, guys, that you know that I love to do is, I mean, we do this show, and it's really about bringing amazing guests like Randall Blaum on the show and talking about all different kinds of things. But you guys out there, it's like, well, I mean, I really hope that you get ideas and you think, gosh, we can do this in our land, in Chicago or in Germany, Zurich, wherever you guys are, that different things that different people are doing. It's not just about, oh, wow, how cool is it that we're doing it or they're doing it, or you can participate and, fly out and be part of it. But it's like, how can you sort of play with these ideas creatively and do something with what you have where you are for the people you're around and stuff. And so I love that Subaru is doing love. I mean, it's all about the love. So that's the sharing the love. And then we have Subaru Loves the Earth, for example. And you guys all know that's my thing. That's my jam. So thank you, Subaru. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm not even kidding. So
go ahead.
Subaru,
and I work with a San Diego-based Subaru retailer, but Subaru of America does many programs. Subaru Loves Pets, Subaru Loves Learning, Subaru Loves the Earth, and Loves the Earth. Literally, we recycle all of our snack wrappers. That little green box that you saw is a self-mailer. When it gets full, we fold it over, put tape on it, it goes back, and it all gets made into furniture.
And mainly for parks, right?
Correct.
For kids. So, I mean, guys, like, Oh my God. And all of that stuff that we feel guilty throwing away, at least I do, and we really just don't know where to put it, but it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. So you can go into Subarus with those like potato chips bags, the cookie bags, like all those kind of plastic things that you know, like when you get those kind of salads that you feel guilty about getting the salad in that plastic, just save that, I guess, rinse it out maybe or whatever, but don't use too much water. And then take that and then put it and go to Subarus and recycle this stuff, because for real, this is the way to recycle. Like a lot of the recycling, as we all know, and I've said 100 times, but 10% of it really gets recycled, and it takes energy to do that. So this is stuff that is super, super like win-win-win. So please, please, and again, Subaru, it makes me cry that you're doing this. I'm not even kidding.
No, it's a
really
big deal,
does.
and it's one of the reasons that I work with them. They have what's called the Subaru Love Promise, and it is about all the love things that we just talked about, but they actually have something called the Love Promise University, which teaches their employees literally how to not only just love the customer, love what they do, love themselves, and create sort of this magic moment. And you know, at the end of the day, yes, they have a product to sell, as do we all, I suppose. But they want to do it exactly the way that I want to do it, which is one of the reasons I love working with them, doing it the right way for the right reasons, and having fun while you're doing it. You don't have to be the big, mean ogre on the block. You can be the nice kid, still make money, and serve humanity.
It's a new now, people.
It is a new now. There it is, the Love Promise.
We can absolutely do it a different way. We don't have to be doing it in the way that we have before. We can create this new way, and we can all have our new nows. We can do that in, I mean, and again, the environment's so important to me. I mean, as Martin Luther King said in the 60s, that if we had a Negro girl at a lunch counter, that was, you know, all as it should be. But if she's drinking milk with strontium 90 in it, you know, like we've got to figure the environment thing out. And that was in the 60s. And so I just pray that you guys do something for the earth today and every day. And Randall, I think we're coming to the end of our time. So I really want to honor you for being with me today in our studio. It's been so great to have you, and we've covered a lot of ground. And, you know, again, Subaru, you rock. I'm super glad that you're doing what you're doing. And again, it's like an unusual suspect. Subaru. Like when I tell people that, I love doing that because, again, we know I love being the mythbuster. It's like, isn't this cool that Subaru can think of doing these kinds of things? You know, it doesn't just have to be the green grocer or whoever.
Right.
So it's like we can all play our part, and we all do have a part to play, and let us play it. And so is there a last word that you would like to say before I say my final bye-bye?
I would actually. So if you're watching this, and thank you for that, it really is the new now. Never forget, your dream is your dream. Find the one person to have them say yes. If they say no, it's not the right person, and that's okay. People are allowed to say no. It's not for them. It's not your audience. Believe in what you're doing. Find the person to say yes, and then have that person find other people to say yes, and your dream can happen. Absolutely guaranteed.
And there we go. There's totally Nutscrackers. Yay.
What a great way. I love my little surfboard with the ballerina in it.
I love that. And it looks kind of African, which I love. And I also want to say that true happiness is helping others find theirs. And that is by our great friend, Randall Blaum. So until next time, I'm going to start crying, so I'm going to have to say bye-bye now. So until next time, we are going to have awesome applause, and we're going to go out into the world and applause for all of you guys out there for listening to us, and much love to you all. And again, thank you, Super, for rocking it. And everyone be creative in your world. So until next time, bye.
Take care.